Today, one of the biggest healthcare fears for many patients, clinicians and policymakers is that we might miss something. Every day the news and social media are full of stories of people whose diagnosis has been delayed or missed, whose treatment has been delayed or missed. And in response, we see calls every day for more appointments, more doctors, more drugs, more resources, more treatments. More people than ever are being seen every day by the NHS at the moment. Capacity and costs continue to expand, and yet the problems are still there. Perhaps it's time for a change of direction. My name's Professor Joanne Reeve. I'm a GP and an academic, and I've spent 30 years practicing, studying and teaching the expertise of advanced generalist medicine. In this course, we're going to explore together how advanced generalist medicine could provide some of that change of direction. So we all know that there are wider problems in the system that need sorting out, but some of the problems lie within our own grasp. Today, every day, we're witnessing a new type of what we might describe as a prescribing cascade. As clinicians, we're incredibly familiar with the idea of prescribing cascades, where we use a medicine to treat a problem, but that medicine causes a side effect, so we prescribe another medicine to treat the side effect, but that then in turn causes a problem that we have to give another medicine for, and so we have a list of medicines all dealing with the problems created by the step before. In clinical practice, we're taught to recognise when that's happening, to stop, take a step back and think about how we might manage the problem differently. But interestingly, we don't apply the same thinking when it comes to looking at the cascades developing within healthcare systems and ways of working more generally. And voices are now starting to question whether we need to do just that, take that step back and think differently about the bigger challenges facing our healthcare systems. A recent review from the King's Fund concluded that more of the same won't fix general practice. So instead, voices have called for a strengthening of medical generalism, doctors with the training, the skills and the mindset to support the ageing population living with growing numbers of complex problems, multiple long-term conditions. But that training, skills and mindset is not the old-fashioned view of generalism as a jack of all trades. Instead, people are starting to recognise that medical generalism is a distinct approach to understanding health problems and healthcare need. A distinct problem to identifying and implementing healthcare approaches, and then to reviewing and the impact and making any necessary revisions to that. Just like specialist medicine, advanced medical generalism or tailored healthcare is grounded in scientific practice. That provides the trusted foundations for all of our work. But as we're going to discover on this course, there are important differences in the scientific foundations of trusted, tailored, whole person care, expert generalist care, and the scientific foundations of specialist biomedical disease-focused medicine. In our 2 days together, we can only touch on the surface of a vast subject that is medical generalism. But our focus will be very practical. We're going to be working on helping you to strengthen your own skills and understanding in advanced generalist medicine to deal with the very real practical problems you're facing every day in clinical practice. And in this course, we're going to focus on the problem of too much medicine. So in day one, we'll be introducing you to key ideas, evidence and practical tools that you'll be using throughout the course, and we hope in your future practice. The learning guide that you've got in front of you provides you with a structured series of readings, videos and tasks to do. You'll be interacting with both your fellow learners and with your tutors on the discussion boards that we'll explain in a second. Then on day 2, we'll all meet together on Teams in a virtual classroom so we can work to apply those ideas to dealing with practical everyday problems of your practice. At the end of our time together, you'll leave with a selection of practical tools, ideas and connections to help you in your ongoing practice. In the course, we're going to be exploring and creating and using new knowledge in context. It's a scientific form of practice, and as with any good scientific practice, your work will be strengthened by 2 additional elements. Firstly, recording your observations, your reflections, and secondly, critically sharing and reflecting on those with your peers. And to do that, we're going to invite you to use 2 additional tools to help. The first is your learning diary. It's a space for you to record your personal notes, reflections, and the ideas that we generate when we're working together through the course. How you do it is entirely up to you. You may be a person who mind maps, draws pictures on a piece of paper, writes out narrative and text, or does it digitally in a digital space. All are fine. What's important is that you have a physical record and that the ideas in your head are committed to writing in some format so that it can be reviewed and critiqued and revised by yourself and by your peer discussions. And we're going to be prompting you to do just that throughout the course. The second element is the discussion board, because our own reflections, our own thinking is an important part of scientific practice and professional practice, an important part of creating new knowledge in practice. But we also need to invite and welcome other voices and thoughts into our reflections as well. That's going to be the key focus of our day 2 classroom working together. But we'll be starting that before the day 2 on the discussion boards. These are closed, private spaces we've created on Teams for you to work with your fellow GPs on the course, but also with your tutors. And throughout the learning guide, there's a series of tasks that we're asking you to do that include asking you to log on to the discussion board and discuss some of those ideas with fellow learners on there. As we've said, the discussion boards are private. They're just for people registered on the course. Only the registered students and tutors will be able to see anything you post on there. But still, please treat it as you would any online professional discussion space. Don't include professional details about your patients, about other individuals, or anything about yourself that you're not comfortable with sharing with the full group. And we'll be moderating and checking those posts are safe for everybody. Both those tools, the learning diary and the discussion board, are a critical part of your ongoing advanced generalist practice. They're not just tools for this CPD programme, although they will be important. They'll help us with the work on this course, but also more importantly, part of your ongoing professional practice, because advanced generalist medicine is ultimately a scientific discipline. Best scientific practice needs recorded information, recorded analysis and peer reflection, whether it's in your discussions in your practice teams, whether it's at your appraisals, whether it's at conferences or anywhere else. And that's why tools like the learning diary and like the discussion board are not just soft exercises for a CPD course, but an integral part of your ongoing professional practice. Thank you.